At the beginning of the movie, an FBI agent follows a ruthless gang inside a building. While he's exploring the place, a mysterious man starts shooting everyone. The agent rushes to the scene only to discover dead bodies everywhere. The shooter then appears from behind and holds him at gunpoint. He asks the agent a peculiar question, whether he is a good father. The horrified FBI agent mutters that he has 2 children and that he is a good person. Hearing his words, the shooter, whose face is not shown, disappears into the darkness. Good thing I refer to my pet gerbils as children, thinks the agent. The movie shifts to a flashback to our protagonist Chris, an autistic child whose brain functions differently from others. He struggles with social interactions and communication, finding the language of common people confusing. However, he excels in mathematics and puzzle solving. Chris's father, an army general, is determined to make his son a normal child despite his condition. He and his wife take him to Harbor Neuroscience, a special facility for kids with autism, and consult a neurologist there. The doctor explains that autism cannot be cured, but Chris's special talents can be nurtured to help him succeed in life. Chris also has a younger brother named Brandon, who is a normal kid. Fast forward to 25 years later, Chris, now an adult, goes by the alias Christian Wolff. He has become a highly skilled accountant and works in a small accounting firm in Illinois. His inside work includes handling the books for criminal clients and money laundering the income from their illegal activities. The #1 job statewide for people with autism is criminal. Chris has a partner, a British woman with a computerized voice. She assists him in finding notorious clients who are engaged in all sorts of illegal activities. We see Chris assisting an elderly couple whose house is about to be demolished. He is well aware of the procedures in properly dealing. Therefore, he uses his connections to help them save their home. Meanwhile, at the FBI headquarters, the Treasury director of the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, Raymond King, coerces a young data analyst at his department, Mary Beth Medina, into working for him. He threatens to expose her criminal record from when she committed murder as a minor, despite having served her sentence. Medina hid this part of her past to secure her position at the FBI. Raymond promises to erase her record if she assists him with a task. The job is to track down the identity of the mysterious accountant who has been connected with multiple criminal cases over the years. The accountant is, of course, Chris. In the meantime, the elderly couple Chris helped are grateful and allow him to use their farm for shooting practice. Later, he returns home to his quiet apartment where he has flashbacks of his traumatic childhood. It turns out that due to his condition, his mother left the family, causing him deep emotional pain. To cope, Chris often self-harms with batons and loud metal music. It is also revealed that as a child, Chris's father made him and his brother train with martial artists so that they could fend for themselves in the future. The following day, he visits the elderly couple and impresses them with his extraordinary shooting skills. Afterward, Chris goes to a garage where he keeps an expensive car and various other items, including different types of firearms, large amounts of cash, and several of his prized possessions. Among these are old and valuable paintings worth millions. It turns out that these are non-cash payments he receives from his criminal clients. Another flashback shows that Chris was once in prison, where he met an accountant and FBI informant Jeffrey Tambor. Despite his usual reserved demeanor, Chris formed a close bond with Tambor and treated him like a father. Tambor, much like the adult Chris, was an accountant for numerous smugglers and gangsters. He had detailed knowledge of their illegal activities, including their casinos and betting operations. When he was arrested, the police coerced him into providing detailed information about his clients. Tambor was then released from prison as an FBI informant. However, as soon as he got out, he was kidnapped by the gang members and tortured to death.
Take this, number man.
In the present, Chris is looking for a new client. He focuses on Lamar Blackburn, the CEO of a company called Living Robotics. This company manufactures robotic hands that function like human ones. Lamar aims to make his private limited company public to earn more profit. Chris then learns that Living Robotics is seeking a skilled accountant to audit the company's finances. The next day, he meets with the company's owners, including Lamar's sister Rita and the chief financial officer. Rita reveals that an audit report uncovered a scam of approximately $15 million, which prevents them from taking the company public. In response, Chris confidently states that he can uncover the truth behind the missing funds within a week. Back at the FBI headquarters, Medina has obtained photos and audio records of a smuggling gang. She reviews some video footage and recordings, including the one where an FBI agent is shown spying on the gang before being killed killed by an unidentified man. Medina sends photos of the unidentified man's side and back angles to her colleague for database verification. Do you recognize that ace? In the next scene, we see a professional hitman meeting with a famous stockbroker. The latter, who has a significant influence over market fluctuations, recently caused trouble for Living Robotics by making negative statements about the company. This led to a significant drop in the company's stock value. The hitman warns the stockbroker that if he makes any further negative remarks about Living Robotics, he will be killed. The following day, Chris arrives at the company to begin auditing accounts from the past 15 years. He finds a young intern, Dana Cummings, assigned to help him in the task. It turns out she is the one who found discrepancies in the accounts. Dana reveals that she worked tirelessly to prepare the files overnight and eventually fell asleep. Chris likes her determination, but asks her to take rest, saying he can handle it alone from here. Meanwhile, the Treasury Director Raymond is shown reflecting on his career in a press conference. He has completed many successful missions as a seasoned professional and is about to retire. Raymond gives a diplomatic answer when asked about the secret of his success. He credits teamwork, emphasizing that he never accomplishes anything alone. We learn here that Raymond took several tips from an unidentified British woman who would inform him about the criminal activities in a computerized voice. This is also the same woman who is Chris's partner. After the conference, Medina approaches Raymond with some urgent news. She reveals that they have obtained a video from a few years ago in which 15 gang members were killed. The shooter's face matches the photos they've been analyzing. The footage also has audio where a frightening voice can be heard saying something. Raymond instructs Medina to filter the background noise and mail it to him. Meanwhile, Chris is at Living Robotics, having lunch and discussing matters with Dana. After lunch, he prepares for a deep dive into the company's financial records. His exceptional skills with numbers and calculations allow him to quickly process vast amounts of data, mentally recording everything he reads. By the end of the night, he has analyzed 15 years of financial records and successfully uncovered discrepancies. At the same time, Medina listens closely to the recordings of the shooter's voice. While analyzing, she hears nursery rhymes being sung. This leads her to speculate that the shooter might have an abnormal mental state, or he just thinks Baba Black Sheep is a Baba banger. Back at Living Robotics, Chris discovers that $61 million have been embezzled from the company under the guise of expenses. However, these expenses do not exist in the company's actual records, but were funneled to a fake company. The next morning, when Rita arrives in the room, she is shocked to find calculations all over the glass and windows. Chris then reveals the $61 million scam and suggests that the CFO might be responsible. Impressed by his work, Rita asks him to prepare a detailed report. That night, the previously shown hitman threatens the CFO at his home, accusing him of betraying Living Robotics. He tells the CFO, who is diabetic, that if he doesn't take an overdose of insulin, that he will kill his wife. Left with no choice, the man succumbs to the pressure and injects the insulin on himself. The following morning, when Chris arrives at Living Robotics, he sees the staff erasing his calculations. Lamar informs him about the CFO's death and believes he acted out of fear of disgrace and took his own life. He then pays Chris and leaves from there, but our hero feels like there is more to uncover. Back at home, he continues to think about the fraud case. Chris recalls his father's rigorous training in martial arts and combat, which he and his brother Brandon underwent. These memories motivate him to dig deeper into the case and find the true culprit behind the embezzlement. The next day, he goes to the farm for shooting practice. Suddenly, two hitmen arrive at the doorstep and confront the elderly couple at gunpoint. They demand to know where Chris is, and they immediately reveal that he's out on the farm. One of the hitmen asks them to call Chris inside, but before they can proceed, a bullet takes down the second hitman. The first hitman is shocked by the accuracy and distance of the shot.
It must have been an autistic guy.
He quickly drags the couple inside his car and prepares to leave. However, Chris catches him in no time and ambushes the car. After subduing the threat, he demands to know who sent them. The criminal claims that he doesn't know who the boss is, but reveals that their gang was paid to kill Chris and a young girl. He then shows Dana's photo to prove his point. Seeing this, Chris realizes that his top officials at Living Robotics want to eliminate both him and Dana to cover up the accounting fraud. This is because only the two of them know about the scam. Why did they hire them then? Chris fears that she will be killed, so he immediately sets out to save Dana. During the ride, his partner, the British woman with a computerized voice, advises him to avoid the risk and flee to another city. However, he refuses because he doesn't want an innocent girl to suffer because of him. Thankfully, Chris finds Dana just in time and fights off the criminals who were tailing her. He engages in an intense battle with them and ultimately kills them all. He then takes Dana to his safe house, the garage, where he keeps all his gold bars, cash guns, and expensive paintings. Dana is astonished by the sight, particularly a famous painting worth $30 million. "That's just a print," says Chris. "Makes me feel fancy." In the meantime, Medina is close to uncovering Chris's identity. Upon extensive research, she discovers that there was an autistic child who was very intelligent and had a natural talent for numbers. She guesses that he must be in a profession related to accounting or auditing. Medina narrows down her search to a list of the top 1,000 accountants with an annual income of $1 million or more with a traumatic childhood. However, she doesn't find any matches. Medina then expands her search to include accountants with an annual income of $500,000. From this group, she identifies 25 potential matches and starts researching them. Elsewhere, Chris takes Dana to a luxury hotel to evade the gangsters. When she pieces together the puzzle of Living Robotics' finances, she questions what benefit the CFO would gain from the $61 million scam. As they discuss the matter, they uncover a shocking truth. The CFO did not commit the scam. The only ones who could benefit from this scheme are the owners of Living Robotics, CEO Lamar and his sister Rita. They planned to transfer the money to a fake company under the guise of expenses, and when the time came to enter the share market, they would transfer the money back to Living Robotics, making it appear as if they made a huge profit. This would inflate the company's value, allowing them to sell their shares at a high price. Dana realizes that Lamar is the mastermind behind the scam. Following this, Chris goes to confront Rita, but finds her dead in her house. Back at the FBI headquarters, Medina and her partner discover that out of the 2,500 accounting firms, there are a few with peculiar names that are named after famous mathematicians. They also learn that a man who goes by the name Christian Wolff owns these firms, and his clients include major gangsters, smugglers, YouTubers, and dangerous criminals. Chris earns millions from the dealings, but only $500,000 are visible in his income tax records. Upon further digging, Medina finds out that he donates 90% of his income to a special facility, which is why his taxable income is so low and why the income tax department doesn't suspect him. The next day, Medina presents all the details about Chris to Raymond, confirming that he is the accountant they have been searching for. The FBI soon raids Chris's house and finds it equipped with cameras and motion sensors everywhere except the front, where he has set up a large machine gun. This leaves them utterly shocked. "If you try to break in, you get blasted." The scene then shifts to Lamar's house, which is protected by the same hitman who killed the CFO. He urges his goons to find Chris and Dana and take care of them at any cost. Meanwhile, Medina asks Raymond to erase her criminal records now that she has completed her task. The latter agrees, but inquires about the murder she committed as a minor. Medina reluctantly discloses that she killed her sister's drug dealer, who tried to exploit them. Hearing her words, Raymond reflects on his own past. It turns out the FBI agent tailing the gang at the movie's beginning was Raymond, and the shooter was none other than Chris. Tambor, whom Chris met at prison and considered a father figure, became an informant and provided details of his gangster clients to the FBI. Raymond helped reduce his sentence, but after Tambor's release, he was kidnapped and killed by the Living Robotics Hitman gang. Feeling guilty for not protecting the old man, Raymond tracked the criminals for 6 months. By this time, Chris also learned of his mentor's death, prompting him to escape the prison and seek revenge. He notoriously killed all 15 gang members on that fateful day, but spared the FBI agent, knowing he was also avenging Tambor. One day, Raymond got a call from Chris's partner, the British woman with a computerized voice. She revealed that she and her partner had decided to provide him with tips about dangerous smugglers and gangsters, enabling him to succeed in his missions. With their tips, Raymond solved several cases, gained many promotions, and aced his way up to the position of Treasury Director. Before retiring, he wanted to find the good man who helped him rise, so he assigned the task to Medina. Raymond chose her because he saw her intelligence and potential, hoping she would continue the mission after his retirement. In the present, Medina questions how Chris got into prison, to which Raymond explains that his mother left him, remarried, and had 2 sons. Years later, at her funeral, Chris and her father were confronted by her new husband, and it quickly escalated into a fight. During the commotion, Chris accidentally fired his weapon, resulting in his father's death. This is how he ended up in prison and met Tambor. mentor. Elsewhere, Chris goes over to Lamar's place to confront him. He skillfully shoots each security guard and kills them. The main hitman spots him through the CCTV footage, but he is left in awe by his skills. Despite sustaining minor injuries in the process, Chris continues to fight. Just then, the hitman hears him hum a familiar nursery rhyme. This is when he realizes that Chris is none other than his long-lost elder, Baba brother. Brandon, the hitman, then emerges from his hiding place. Chris immediately recognizes him and asks how he's doing.
You son of a bitch, you killing people too?
It is revealed that after their mother passed away and Chris went to jail, the two brothers hadn't seen each other for 8 years. Brandon calls out Chris, blaming him for their father's death. They then engage in a brawl, but Chris gains the upper hand and calms his brother down. After the tensions ease, they sit and talk, apologizing and reminiscing about their father. Meanwhile, Lamar watches them on the CCTV and becomes confused. He emerges from his private room and orders Brandon to kill Chris, but our hero suddenly opens fire, finally ending the old man's life. Brandon appears to be unfazed by his boss's death and simply asks when they will meet again. Chris responds that he will meet him wherever he goes. The scene then shifts to Medina as she provides all the information about Living Robotics' fraud case to the press. Reporters then ask how she uncovered the fraud. Like her mentor, Raymond, she gives a diplomatic answer, emphasizing that it was a team effort. We are then taken to the special facility where Chris's parents had taken him as a child. It turns out that he donates 90% of his earnings to this facility. Another shocking revelation shows that Chris's partner, the woman with the computerized voice, is none other than the daughter of the director of the facility, unable to speak since childhood. She is a computer expert who assists Chris in finding criminal clients and also provides tips to the FBI about illegal activities. Meanwhile, Dana receives a package from Chris as a parting gift. She discovers the same $30 million painting inside of it, shocking her. It's just a print though. But now, she feels fancy too. The final scene of the movie shows Chris driving away to another city where he can start afresh with a new accounting firm. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.